Welcome to IAYTD, and today we're discussing Transformers. Where do they come from, why do people love them, and how have they affected pop culture as we know it? The year was 1984 and the first toy line came for Transformers, created by American company Hasbro and Japanese company Takara Tomy. They could literally transform between two different forms, usually one as an upright warrior and one as a vehicle of some sort, like a truck or a jet. The easiest way in the 1980s to sell toys was to create a cartoon, which would serve as basically a half-hour commercial. Immediately following the launch of the Transformers cartoon, we also got a comic book series. Both of these revolved around a battle of good versus evil, the heroic Autobots versus the terrifying Decepticons. Our heroes, the Autobots, are led by characters marked with the name Prime. Usually it's Optimus Prime, but once you get into sequels and side stories, there are many other Primes that make appearances. The Decepticons are usually led by Megatron and tend to have evil characteristics like glowing red eyes and sharper features. Now this advertising plan was working, and toys were selling incredibly well. For the cartoon, there were about 98 episodes made of this original Transformers series, as well as an animated movie that takes place in the middle of that. The comics were also doing really well. It was published by Marvel Comics and even featured cameos by other Marvel characters. Originally when this began, there were 28 toys. Once Hasbro realized how popular these were, they re-released the original 28 and they added 76 new toys. Many of them, though, were just different paint jobs and variations, but that wouldn't stop the kids from wanting them all. At this time, they also started to create new types of Transformers, such as the Dinobots or Insecticons, which would shake up the formula and allow for even more variety of toys. This line of comics and shows, usually referred to as Generation 1, lasted for almost 10 years. In 1996, a new resurgence of the brand arrived in the form of Beast Wars. This would allow for new toys and characters to be introduced in a fresh and exciting way. Over the next years, we'd see multiple new versions of the show, including reimaginings and reboots in new continuity. It wasn't until 2007 that we'd see the next big surge, and that's when the live-action film would arrive, directed by Michael Bay and starring Shia LaBeouf. There have been 4 movies so far, with no end in sight. These movies weren't always well received, but they continue to make so much money, especially internationally, that they're a success for the studios. 2 out of the 4 have made over $1 billion at the global box office. In addition to television shows and movies, in the last few years we've also gotten a few video game outings, including War for Cybertron and Transformers Devastation. Now let's go back to animated series. Our most recent outing is Transformers Prime, which had much nicer computer-generated graphics and even won multiple daytime Emmys, including the award for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Animation for all 3 years that the show was on, from 2010 to 2013. For fans of the Transformers world, there's also an annual convention specifically for them, called BotCon, which is officially sanctioned by Hasbro and usually offers unique toys and collectibles only found at this convention. Unfortunately, the word on the street is that 2016 might have been the last BotCon, at least in this format. Hopefully something like it replaces it to give fans a venue for that sort of community. Now that's the basic gist. We did skip over quite a bit. We had other television shows, we had movies, we had comic book arcs, but there's a lot here to cover, so we wanted to keep it simple. If this looks interesting and like something you'd want to get into, we encourage you to look into where you can find the various animated series as a good starting point. Thanks for watching.
Transformers, robots in disguise. Transformers.